Oh, it's happening. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Are you ladies ready?
Yes, sir.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay, we welcome you to the Stephen F. Austin press conference. We are joined here by a couple of student athletes at Trinity Moore and Faith Blackstone. Thanks for taking the time to join us. A few reminders, if you haven't been with us yet, to please silence your cell phones throughout the course of the press conference as a courtesy to the student athletes, coaches, and fellow media members. If you're asking a question, please provide your name and your media affiliation prior to asking that. If you're joining us on Zoom, just use the raise your hand function, and we'll get to you after we get to questions in-house first. Photographs are welcome, just please no flash photography, and then no recording of the press conference via your phone or camera as well. And with all that said, we open the floor to questions for our student athletes.
Kurt Rollo, Associated Press. Faith, can you talk about your team's prolific three-point shooting and what it is you guys do to work together so well to thrive on the perimeter?
Yeah, I think we just, I'm sorry. I think we just do it every day in practice. We do a lot of shooting drills, 5-spot shooting. So I think we just drill in our heads that the shot is going in every time. And we also implement it in our drills, getting up and down, looking for that three ball. So I think it just translates over to the game.
Trinity, could you talk about that 15-game winning streak? Just what have you seen that this team is doing so well to get on this kind of a roll?
We know where we want it to be at the end of the year, and obviously winning is a part of that. So just going into every game, doing what we know we should do, and then the ones that we drop, learning from those mistakes. We'd always rather learn from a win, but when we don't, we're going to learn something.
And Trinity, can you talk a little bit about the challenge of playing an opponent on its home court in a tournament?
Yeah, it won't be easy, but we've been preparing all week just to come out here and do what we do. We don't want to stray from what we do, then also trying to limit other people from what they do. But, come here to try to do what we know we can do. Yes, sir.
Caitlin Urka, ESPN. Just piggybacking off of that first and foremost, does it give you guys a boost? Like, I know some athletes love it when fans cheer against them. It kind of drives them. Are you guys that same way?
I am. I love it. We feel like we're kind of been underdogs all year, so we just kind of embrace things as they are. We're not going to shy away from a moment, no matter what the outside pressure may be. We embrace pressure.
I would just say that we're the two that like to talk a lot on the floor. I just think that's the perfect thing for us, like when we can hear more talking and, it's kind of like we're at a disadvantage, but you're not worried about that.
You guys had to knock off the top 2 seeds in the conference tournament to get to this point. So what did having to do that, and obviously being the underdog in those games, do to help prepare you now to be the underdog in this game?
Go ahead, Trinity.
Well, we knew preseason just kind of where we were ranked, and we kind of, not necessarily, I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but I felt some type of way about it as far as where we were ranked in our conference and in our standings. So it was just kind of motivation for me personally, and I know our team also took it on the chin. Just kind of come in there, do what we know we can do. We've been practicing with each other every day, all throughout the summer and whatnot, so we knew where we were supposed to be at. So it was motivating, and I feel like our hard work was rewarded at the end of the conference tournament, just kind of what we had gone through and what we need to be at.
Yeah, I just want to speak on just how we went through injuries, and we kind of just, we fought a lot of battles, I think, before the season even started. So I think that type of stuff just motivated us to be there for one another and knowing that we're short in bodies, so we have to give it all.
I saw you guys had quite the send-off before you made the trek to South Bend. What does it mean to have that kind of community support and people rallying behind this team as you guys embark on this NCAA journey? And Faith, I'll start with you.
I think it just feels like a lot of love and support. It makes you want to go harder, honestly. I never really had that experience, just considering everywhere I've been, but I just appreciate it, and I always show love back, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that. I feel the same way. It means the world. Those people definitely helped us to get where we are now. So we just go out here and play to make those people proud, show our appreciation.
Now, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be tuning in to ESPN tomorrow that will have never seen one of your games. So what would you hope that they would take away when they're watching the Lady Jacks tomorrow for the first time?
That we're not afraid and that we're going to hoop and we're going to give them our best shot no matter what anybody says. So I just think our resilience and just knowing who we are and going out there and showing them.
Yeah, I would go word for word with that. I agree. Good job, Mike.
And Olivia Miles, Hannah Hidalgo, those names get a lot of attention nationally. I'm sure you've heard of them as well. So, what is it going to be like to look across the court and see them, and how do you even practice to go against a pair like those two?
Go ahead, T.
They're amazing players. We're looking forward to play against them. We just follow the game plan. Our coaches have done a great job, and putting together a game plan for us to follow. So we're just excited to go out there and execute what we've been working on all week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. Just the energy, like we talked about earlier, I think we thrive in energy. So I think it's just going to be bouncing off of one another. Yeah.
I've seen you guys have had some amazing locker room celebrations and celebrations on courts, and it just looks like this team has a lot of fun together. I'm curious, is there anything that you guys have done off the court to work on cementing that chemistry? Is there any fun traditions or anything else that you guys have that help you bond together or get hyped for the game?
I think we've had some spaces in the season where we've hung out and we've learned each other throughout the season. And we always kind of try to talk to each other in the locker room to get each other's perspective on what needs to be better. But I think just, knowing ourselves and playing to the plan that, our coaches provide for us. That's what we do.
Yeah, I agree. My dad always says to celebrate what you want to see more of. So when you're on the court, if your teammate does something good, celebrate that with them. And then also we know each other's hearts. So when, you can celebrate, and there's also a time for some other things to kick in, but we're a pretty close-knit unit, so we're able to do both sides of that.
What has your, weekend been like? I know it's always a rush when you are sitting there watching, wondering where you're going to end up. What is that process like when you finally, hear your name called, know where you're going, and the turnaround to get to here? Kind of just take me through the whirlwind of these last couple days. From your perspective, I'll start with you, Trinity.
For me, after we found out who we were playing, I was excited. Just kind of hear the game plan and what we're trying to do throughout the game. So then just working in practice on the things that were set out, focus on our main goals and whatnot, and just trying to get better.
Yeah, I would just say, once we found out, it was kind of we already knew we were going to play again, but it's just about doing your research and sticking to the game plan at that point. But I don't feel like we were rushed or anything. I don't feel like there's no pressure or nothing. It's just it's another game and another game to handle business.
So what is going to be the key for you guys to get the win against the Irish tomorrow? What has to go right for sure for you guys?
Just us executing and doing what we know we're supposed to do. We've talked with our coaches. They've talked with us. They put together a game plan for us. And then also us not straying away from what we typically do. What's helped us get to this point. So just sticking to what we know and our blueprint.
Yeah, I would piggyback off of her. Just staying to who we are and not getting outside of anything that's not SFA. And just going out there and hooping this is just another one of those days in the office.
Not to put you on the spot, but tell me, from your perspective, tell me about your coach. What kind of influences he had, and why is it you guys look like he's a guy that you want to play for and have a lot of fun with? So I'm curious your perspective and what he's been able to do with your team this season.
Coach Bishop, I think he fires me up on the bench. Or just seeing him on the sideline, fighting for us, having energy is man, like, you just want to follow after that, and you just want to give it your all like he does. And I don't know, I appreciate how hard he fights for us, and he always has a game plan. Like, no matter what happens in the game, like, we know that we're going to be led in the right direction. So all grace and props to him.
I agree with her. That's my guy, Coach Bishop. I feel like when we're out there on the court, I know he has our backs. It's never, in question. On the court, we're able to get down to business, and then off the court, like, that's family. We can joke around, we can clown. And I feel like it helped establish trust with us, off the court, things like that, to where we know, like, that's a guy that we want to go out there and fight for. We want to win for him. And then he's also the same way for us. We know he's fighting for us, and he's trying to put a plan together that helps us to be successful. So I appreciate that. All props to you, Coach Bishop.
Yes, sir, Bishop.
I love Big Dog. Come on, dog.
Any other questions for our student athletes? Well, thank you, Trinity. Thank you, Faith.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Stephen F. Austin head coach Leonard Bishop. Coach Bishop, you just want to get us started with a little opening statement?
Yeah, excited to be here, excited to represent Stephen F. Austin State University, excited to represent past, current, and future Lady Jacks, and excited to just represent the city of Nacogdoches as a whole. Again, there's a lot of people. You talked about the support, you talked about the send-off, but there's a lot of people in Nacogdoches wearing purple on Friday that are going to really be cheering these young ladies on. So we just want to continue to represent the school, the university, and the city in a first-class manner.
Thank you, Coach. Start off with some questions.
Kurt Rollo, South Bend Tribune. Can you talk a little bit about that three-point shooting, just shattering those records this year? What fuels that proficiency?
Yeah, I think we did a good job of recruiting some really good shooters, some people that already come in with that in their toolbox. And then I think our team did a great job of working together as a unit to work to get those open opportunities. And, you heard the student athletes talk about it earlier. They put a lot of time into it in practice. So whether I'm getting there at 8 o'clock in the morning or if I'm leaving late at night, there's always somebody in there getting extra shots up. And so, we only get so many hours in a week, but them putting the extra work in on their off time has allowed them to really shine at this level.
Coach Ivey says they have a pick-your-poison lineup, so to speak. What's the challenge of playing a team that has, a lot of scoring balance, so to speak?
Yeah, no, they're definitely talented. They definitely have a lot of weapons, and it is definitely pick your poison over there. The challenges are just to try and limit them and keep them as uncomfortable as possible. They're a really good team. They have players that can do everything. So you're just trying to find things that they don't want to do and kind of force them to do the things that they don't want to do. But ultimately, we have to play well to give ourselves an opportunity to compete at this level, and that's what we're looking forward to doing.
Can you talk about the challenge for a coach to get a team through adversity early in the season, injuries, and finish so strong the way you have? Got the 15-game win streak going.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's easy for me as a coach when you have the character of the kids we have in the locker room. They have a no-quit mentality to them, very resilient. All of them, they come from great families. So, again, it's really easy to kind of keep them locked in. You just kind of motivate them a little bit. That's my job to do. Motivate them a little bit and let them see what their hard work can eventually pay off in. And so we talked about the long game and the short game. We put short-term goals and long-term goals in front of them, whether that's the next game, whether that's the next practice. We always have a goal in mind, and so that allows them to stay focused on keeping the main thing the main thing.
And then can you just talk a little bit about that Notre Dame backcourt, Hidalgo, Miles, just, how your team neutralizes them or at least keeps them, from just taking over?
Yeah, no, those two are really talented, and I would throw Citron in that mix as well. 3 really talented kids that can play can do a lot of different things on the offensive and defensive end. So again, my job as a coach is to make sure that they know that, hey, they practice just like you do, and to keep us focused. Obviously, we have to adapt to kind of the speed and the pace of the game. It will be a different environment. But as you heard them say, it's just another day of the office. Every game presents challenges. This one just presents different ones with names they probably heard of all year long and seen on ESPN. So we're excited about the challenge. That's what I love about my group is that they've been game all year. It doesn't matter if we're playing at Texas Tech, playing at San Diego State, or if we're playing here at Notre Dame. They're going to be excited to play, and they're not scared of anybody. So when you go into a locker room and you have that as a coach, that's a really good building block to start off of.
Caitlin Orca, ESPN. I'm curious, Coach, do you find it a little bit advantageous to be kind of overlooked? I know Trinity talked about kind of the chip on her shoulder about, being counted out even of your own conference. And I'm curious as a coach, if that helps you both knowing that people haven't paid as much attention and you can use that to your advantage maybe coming into a big game like this.
Yeah, I think people overlook the fact that Division I athletes are some of the more uber competitive people on the planet. So if you give them any slight, whether, we're looking at ESPN and they haven't seen their face or, anything like that, they're going to put that chip on their shoulder and they're going to use it as motivation. So again, my group was going to be ready to play regardless. So anything like that we can use to kind of just sharpen the edge for us, we'll definitely do.
I'm curious, with Ashlyn Traylor Walker being an Indiana native, if there's a little bit of extra pep in her step, any more motivation that you've seen from her, knowing that she gets to play back in the home state of Indiana.
For sure. All right, like that kid was all smiles as soon as she saw Notre Dame come up there. Again, she's happy to be back close to home. We've been trying to schedule a game up here in the Indiana area so that she could be back home, and then God planned it that way to where we play Notre Dame in the first round, and her family will be able to be here. So super excited for that kid to be back home in her home state and playing on the biggest stage that she possibly can. So super excited for her.
And I know, obviously, everyone can see there's a lot in front of you as far as things that have to go right, and like everyone said, executing the game plan. But I'm curious, out of your perspective, what is going to be, some of the keys in order for you guys to come up with the upset tomorrow?
I think we have to be dialed in on the defensive end, and ultimately you don't win the game if you don't score more points. So we've got to put the ball in the bucket. You've talked about our three ball. I think, no matter it's a three, a layup, a free throw, we've got to be hitting tomorrow. And we've got to be dialed in, and I think feeding off of our defense can allow us to create some offense as well.
Any other questions for Coach? Coach Bishop, thanks so much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you, Axum Jacks.
Reminder that Hammond Communications posts a recording of this press conference online to the NCAA Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com, and transcripts are also provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you all for joining us.